This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. Today, let's go ahead and talk about something that I think both Ashley Biden and Meghan Markle wants everyone to forget. In April of last year, Ashley Biden's charity failed to disclose $500,000 in donations to the IRS. Harry and Meghan's Archwell Fugazi Public Charity reported in their tax forms granting $250,000 to Ashley Biden's charity venture in 2023. Given that Archwell follows the calendar year from January to December, the same as Ashley Biden's, this donation or grant should have shown up in Ashley Biden's 2023 report, but it didn't. The women's wellness space told a much very different story to the IRS, reporting in the 2023 tax filing that it received just $170,000 from all sources that year, and that it didn't receive any contributions from a single source greater than $5,000, seemingly contradicting the financial reporting of its two largest benefactors. Ashley Biden signed the document as the charity's president under penalty of perjury. Now here's where it gets messy. You see, stupid woman Meghan Markle wanted to make herself look like she is a founder and wrote in the Archwell Impact Report for 2023-24, the Archwell Foundation is a founding partner and supporter of Ashley Biden's Women's Wellness Space, a trauma-informed wellness center for women in North Philadelphia. Now, one would think that as a founding partner giving such a generous grant of $250,000, that your name would be somewhere listed on this website, giving credit to that, or at least supporting it. But when you go and visit this website, there's barely any information or details about who is funding it, what type of partners they have. It's pretty much bare bones, as you can see here. And like right here, this is pretty telling, as it says, with the support from donors, we have made amazing strides and addressed an underserved and vulnerable demographic of women, with Ashley Biden's name as founder. There's no mention of Archwell being a co-founder anywhere. I mean, you could see the website is very basic, almost as if they're using stock photos to put up this website. Also to make note is that when you go to the donation page and you go to make a donation, it doesn't say anywhere that this money that you're giving is tax deductible. There's really not a lot of information on this website. However, there is a video that was made, and I'm going to show you that so you can see how Archwell participated.
The Women's Wellness Space is a safe space for women to come and get effective evidence-based treatments for mental health, especially post-traumatic stress. Our goal is to decrease generational trauma and to increase generational wealth.
I joined the Women's Wellness Space because I have endured a lot of trauma.
Certain stuff in my life I went through, and I know for a fact this is a good environment, and just teaching us about value, self-respect, and loving ourselves more.
The Women's Wellness Space means comfort and motivation to me.
When I come here, I feel a sense of security, a sense of serenity. When I'm here, I don't think about nothing but my mental health.
The wellness space to me is a safe haven.
It's a lot of love here, definitely.
In my years of working in the field as a social worker, what I saw was inequity when it came to mental health and healthcare in general. And so we started the Women's Wellness Space. We provide evidence-based treatment and treatment modalities to help with heal trauma and to provide safety. So we have a kitchen with healthy food. We have a gym with a bike and a treadmill and weights and boxing. We have trauma therapists who are doing EMDR and prolonged exposure therapy. We have biotech devices, the SwiftWave massage chair that really helps in regulating your body, especially if you're going through or experiencing PTSD. We have a sauna. We have a Mind Your Business business center. We provide massage, Reiki, credit classes, financial literacy.
You really come here and it's safe for you. You can be open about anything. There's no judgment here. Everybody is open arms and understanding.
Some of the skills I learned from this women's support group is definitely loving myself, being supportive, and having bravery and speaking up for myself.
This space helped us realize that we are connected in so many ways. We share so much trauma together, and just being there for each other and be able to be the best support that we might not have at home is everything.
Ashley's taught me how to be strong. Ashley's taught me how to be the woman that I am. This woman that I thought I would never be. I'm actually in the position that I'm in right now because of her.
From the moment that participants enter this space, we are tracking data. So when they walk into this space, they QR code that they have entered this space, and they also have to QR code when they leave the space. And every activity around has a survey attached to it that we track through a database so that we can see all the data and we can compare the individual wellness plans and what is actually happening within the space. So I'm able to really look at the individual wellness plan and also to see if the women are following their wellness plan so that we can see what is working for each woman, what is helping to decrease their post-traumatic stress symptoms and also their trauma, increase their self-awareness, their resilience, and their self-confidence.
Being here at the wellness space had taught me how to be strong, how to be a survivor and never look back.
This is a safe space to be yourself, to be who you are. This is like your own little family.
Everyone, especially women, needs a place like the Women's Wellness Space to go to because you feel safe, you feel supported.
I think we need this space because a lot of people are lost in this world.
Please support us if you can. Thank you.
You just have a space where you could just woosah from the craziness of the world, you know?
I think what it provides women is safety, opportunity. I want them to see their potential. You are so much more than what happened to you. Every single woman deserves the ability, the opportunity to heal and to self-actualize.
Did you all catch that? 23 seconds into this video, there is James Holt, literally for 2 seconds, and then that's it. So Meghan puts this radical leftist Marxist who fled the US back to the UK to show that Archewell is involved here as a co-founder. So let's try and process this here for a second. So Archewell reported on their IRS statement in 2023 that they gave this organization $250,000 for it to only show up less than 2 seconds in this video without ever being named. And if you didn't know who James Holt was, would have no idea that Archewell was representing here. And Archewell at the same time is saying that they are a co-founder of this space. But with Ashley Biden, there's no indication that Archewell is anywhere remotely close to being a co-founder. Even on the most recent 990 for 2024, there is no mention of this grant that was given for $250,000. And even if it was given, it should have been corrected in an updated 2023 to match Archewell saying that they gave $250,000 in 2023. So even though $400,000 in gross receipts is being reflected on the 2024 990, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's the Archewell money. You know, Archewell and this women's wellness space operate in the same calendar year. So if Archewell gave a grant in 2023, then this wellness space should have reflected that for their 2023 returns. And we can't assume that this $400,000 that we're seeing for this wellness space includes this Archewell $250,000 grant. There's no indication or sign that Archewell updated their 990s to reflect that in the 2024 filing. So as it stands, this $250,000 was given in 2023, not 2024. So the real question is, did Archewell indeed give $250,000 to Ashley Biden, or did they not? Considering there's no mention, no indication of how that money is being used or the involvement that Archewell Fugazi Public Charity had with this organization, aside from this photo of James Holt. Or did somebody end up pocketing that $250,000? Something tells me that that's exactly what happened here. But I don't think it was Ashley Biden because she doesn't need the money. Wouldn't it be a plot twist if it was James Holt that ended up pocketing this money? The rumor on the street is that this guy is even worse than Harry and Meghan, if that's even possible. It's like no wonder why this guy was able to stick around so long, as well as sit there and lie in that Netflix mockumentary so easily. Which now brings me back to Archwell's involvement with the International Rescue Committee. As you can see there's James Holt once again. Take a listen as to who the CEO of IRC is.
British Foreign Secretary now makes $1.2 million a year running a refugee charity. David Miliband is the UK Foreign Secretary from 2007 to 2010. He is now the CEO of the International Rescue Committee. His salary is a whopping $1.2 million a year, including a 150k bonus. He started back in 2013, so only 3 years after being the secretary. His salary then grew by 178% in just 9 years. The budget of the NDO under his leadership grew from $450 million to $1.5 billion, much of it coming from government grants. I wonder how he got the contacts to increase the subsidies by that much. No idea. Anyway, now the organization faces a $50 million deficit. Congressman Brian Mast called his salary evidence of grift via US aid money. Coincidence? I think not. Career politicians never retire. They just pivot to other industries, this time a non-profit, and the salary keeps growing off of your back.
So with all of that in mind, I went down this rabbit hole and ended up discovering, not that it's any kind of surprise in New York City, there's a lot of fraud and corruption going on, but to see it up close like this, it really does make you sick. So in this post that I put up yesterday, I tagged useless senators Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand. Remember, she succeeded Hillary Clinton, if that tells you anything. And asking this question as to why has there been over $100 million of federal money for quote-unquote other income to give to illegal aliens in New York? As is, New York State is already giving billions of dollars to not only house and feed and provide benefits to them, but also to protect them, giving them legal services. So why is Kirsten Gillibrand and Chuck Schumer behind giving another $159 million in quote-unquote other income to illegal aliens that don't even contribute to the system, and giving one of the largest contracts of that pot of money to International Rescue Committee, who is, by the way, headquartered in New York City? I'll tell you why. This is how they cheat. You see, all of that money somehow is getting laundered back into giving to the Democratic Party. And as you can see here, with thousands of donations coming from employees of IRC over the past 10 years, giving to Democratic candidates, PACs, and presidential campaigns. But what's even more strange are all of these $100 donations going to Act Blue. So is that why my two useless New York senators want to give our hard-earned tax dollars away to these illegal migrants? Yeah, pretty much. These scumbags knew that leaving the border open was going to cause this kind of crisis to then trigger off money to be allocated that they could siphon and then launder back into supporting keeping these fucking people in power. And you have people like David Miliband, who is a British national living in New York City, riding high, getting rich off of all of this suffering that also is happening in the UK. David Miliband, no surprises here, is a World Economic Forum globalist. And when he took over and became CEO of IRC in 2013, that year, IRC awarded the Freedom Award to George Soros for his support of human rights and open society, aka open borders. Where I got this email from? The Epstein files. 3 years earlier, Jeffrey Epstein was sitting at a table with David Miliband. Seen here in this message to Peter Mendelsohn asking him if he should say hello. Jeffrey Epstein somehow finagled his way to this event that was being held November 5th through the 8th, where Tony Blair and David Miliband were in attendance, in addition to all of these high-level ministers and officials. Keep in mind, Jeffrey Epstein was the brainchild of Philanthropy 2.0, as revealed from the files between him and Bill Gates on how they can siphon money from the government with these so-called initiatives and funds that they were creating. And most of all, be able to skirt the tax system so you didn't have to pay tax. Like, the whole thing is so disgusting to me. But anyway, all of these globalist parasites figured out how to redistribute and steal the middle-class wealth. And that's what we've been witnessing over these past 10 years in what they've been doing to us. And Harry and Meghan are no exception. They too have been benefiting from this corrupted system. Like today, I found this organization that Archwell partnered with, the Afghan American Alliance of Georgia. Remember the Welcome Project and the photo shoot with these so-called refugees hiking in a free national park in Georgia? Well, that organization failed to report a $250,000 government grant coming from the Office of Refugees and Resettlements. One now has to wonder how many other grants did this organization receive and not report? Because when you think about it, it's not just this one office giving money. You had Department of State giving out billions of dollars. You had HHS giving out billions of dollars. I mean, nobody was really keeping any kind of record when it came to all of our hard-earned money being wasted like this. So is it entirely possible that government grants were cut to these organizations, and being that there was no follow-up to see what they did with this money, instead just putting up some bullshit, that they got away with passing money over to Harry and Meghan? Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and I guess it's kind of comical that their tagline was show up and do good, meaning show up and do nothing aside from just taking a photo and then spinning it in the media as if they're doing something impactful to give the optics. Again, we go back with the optics. But the reality is not really doing anything aside from theft. Now, a lot of people seem to think that Harry and Meghan are going broke or running out of money. I don't think so. I really don't. I think Harry and Meghan made some money off of the Biden regime and put that money into offshore accounts. Yeah, I don't see it an accident that the organizations Harry and Meghan partnered with, some of them being based in Minnesota, shocking, especially when fraud is rife there. I will bet you that they know how to game the system. Like, all of this failure is to keep us distracted, but behind the scenes, they probably made bank. And I believe James Holt led a lot of that and lined his own pockets at the same time. And this is why I believe, because the timing is not an accident, that they announced James Holt fleeing back to the UK right after the Minnesota scandal broke. And I really do think that the big reason for why these two idiots are so desperate for their security status back is because this shit is catching up to them. But those are just some of my thoughts today. But what do you guys think? Do you think that Harry and Meghan and James Holt are going to get caught? Do you think anything's going to happen? You know, I keep saying, keep the faith. You know, I do believe that God has a plan and they will face the consequences one way or another. And I do hope that all of you that celebrate Easter this weekend enjoy a peaceful day. And on that note, I will be back with more content. But until then, please be safe and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Chicken dance, dance, dance.
Such a fraud.